Today is a beautiful Monday, April 6th, the day of the national championship in college basketball. But that is not what we are here to talk about. We are here for the first triple threat live mock draft. We will go in a triangle, I guess, with the three of us. And to help me out today, my two friends and co-hosts, a little bit of a throwback episode. I have Mr. Peter Kegwin and Caleb Carney here sliding in like one Chris Collinsworth. We will get into it in just a second. The NFL draft kicks off a couple of days from today. There is Peter. We could not see his face for a second. Wonderful, wonderful news. Peter is, in fact, oh my goodness, Peter is here. There we go. Much better. Technical difficulties. But the way we are going to do this is very simple. We will be going in a triangle. Caleb here will be taking the first pick. I will take the second. Peter will take the third pick, and we will go from there. So, without further ado, and I don't think that this is going to cause a lot of strife and issues in our with our first overall pick, but chaos could start out right away. Caleb, why don't you take us away? The Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock.
All right. The pick is in. With the first overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana.
Congratulations to the Las Vegas Raiders. They draft their quarterback of the future. This one, not much of a surprise. You want to elaborate a little bit on why Fernando Mendoza?
I feel like it is for one the most mocked pick, and I mean, who else would they be going with one overall? I mean, Fernando Mendoza is the best quarterback in this class from what I've seen. Some people may disagree, but I think it's an easy pick for them.
Easy pick for them. Number 2, I also think is an easy pick. So, without further ado, the pick is in. The New York Jets are on the clock, and they select linebacker from Ohio State, Arvell Reese. Now, this one you could see going in a couple other directions. There are a lot of great defenders on this board. Arvell Reese has consistently tested at the top. He is the guy that, for me, has been the most versatile defender as far as the front seven goes. Now, you could go for the most versatile guy. That guy's going to be a fellow teammate of his in Caleb Downs out of Ohio State, but he's not going to be able to rush the passer. I think a guy that is testing as an edge can play that linebacker position, a place that the Jets really need to fill, really everywhere on that defense with the way that things have gone up in New York. The New York Jets select Arvell Reese with the second overall pick, and the Arizona Cardinals are on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, this pick is probably where this draft starts to get interesting. But the pick is in. And, I'm going to guess that this pick is going to get traded to the Cowboys. But to make things interesting, we're going to do a wild card here. We're going to draft Jeremiah Love to the Arizona Cardinals with the third overall pick. They signed Tyler Algier to a not-so-great contract. It's very clear that he is not the number one guy there. James Conner is coming back from injury, and he's old. So that leaves Trey Benson, and Trey Benson is not the number one guy. You're getting probably the best player in the draft in Jeremiah Love. So
they do have James Conner coming back from injury, which is the one thing that I would say is holding me up from the Cardinals drafting him here. If you're just doing like a big board kind of thing, very much is a game changer over there. He has such a wide variety of outcomes in this NFL draft. Jeremiah Love does. There's a lot of places he could end up. The desert is not one at the top of my list, but I could very much see it happening. The draft, there's always, as I like to call it, a fracture point, and the Cardinals very much could be that fracture point there. Jeremiah Love goes to the Arizona Cardinals, and Caleb, the Tennessee Titans are on the clock.
I would think if Jeremiah Love falls to the Titans, that he would be selected here. However, Jeremiah Love is off the board, but the pick is in. With the fourth pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Sonny Styles, linebacker.
Ooh.
The Titans are somewhat weak at linebacker. They don't have much depth, and I do believe that Sonny Styles is one of the best linebackers in this class. And if your guy is off the board, you've got one of the best players in the draft still available. Why let him go past you?
This one is brutal because the Giants consistently mocked Sonny Styles here at 5, but this is why it's not just me making the draft. This is why it's not just Caleb or Peter making the draft here. This is what it's like. The guy that you want consistently taken away right in front of your face. Sonny Styles slipped away from my fingers at the last second, which leaves the Giants in an interesting spot. Because if you look at the big board now, there's a couple of great defenders still available. Edge rushers, David Bailey and Ruben Bain, are still available here. But I don't think the Giants need an edge rusher. They kind of drafted at a position of strength when they drafted Abdul Carter last year, but he was, at least perceptionally wise, the head and shoulders guy above everyone else there. Not against that pick. Here, the Giants have a decision to make, and I think it's between the two Ohio State guys that are kind of at the top of the board. Carnell Tate and Caleb Downs. Now, if they want a wide receiver to pair next to Malik Neighbors, they can get Carnell Tate, or they could take a swing on Jordan Tyson, who I think is the best wide receiver in this class, but you're not sure if he's going to be healthy. You also have a guy like, not Jordan Tyson, like, I'm blanking on his name, out of Mekhi Lemon, out of USC, who's also up there in the draft class. There are a lot of great wide receivers, but I think the Giants need more help defensively, and you can get a better wide receiver in the second round than you can get a defender, like the caliber of one Caleb Downs, who is going to fit in that secondary. He can play that same kind of position as Kyle Hamilton, which has been super successful for John Harbaugh and his defenses. So, all that being said, the New York Giants are on the clock, and the pick is in. The New York Giants, with the 5th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, select safety Caleb Downs from Ohio State, the most versatile player on the board. He fits into that system, can play, like I said, the Kyle Hamilton-style role, which is what we are looking at. And now the draft continues down to pick number 6, and Peter is on the clock with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, with the Cleveland Browns pick, it's really a toss-up between two guys at this point. It's either Francis Mauigoa, I think that's how you say his name, or Carnell Tate. They desperately need a wide receiver one. Not Genty. What's his name?
Judy,
yeah. Is not a wide receiver one for them. He'd be a really good wide receiver two, but he's not a wide receiver one. So it's essentially, which do you want to cover now? Offensive tackle at this part of the draft, or do you want to cover wide receiver now? And the drop-off for offensive tackles isn't that much, while with wide receiver, there's a pretty big drop-off. So Cleveland Browns pick is in. And we're going to go here with Carnell Tate. It is smokescreen season right now, so huge grain of salt, but I've seen so many insiders say that Carnell Tate is pretty much a lock for a number 6 if he falls there. So I think the Browns grabbed their number 1 guy off of the boards early.
Yeah, getting a wide receiver here would be huge for them. It's definitely a huge position of need. They addressed a lot of the offensive line worries in free agency. They were not able to do that at the wide receiver position. Definitely a spot for them to grab here. They do have a second first round pick, which they could get later on in the draft, addressing another position of need. But Caleb, now the Commanders are on the clock. And if I'm looking at the board the way that it's fallen in our mock so far, I might venture to say this is about as good as it could have gone for the Commanders.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I think the Commanders are really hoping for Caleb Downs or Carnell Tate to fall to them. Or in a dream scenarios, Sony Styles falls to them. However, I don't think in any capacity any of those guys will make it to them. I think they're going to be looking at their secondary. I think they're going to be looking possibly at wide receiver, maybe taking a reach. I think they're fine on their offensive line right now. They've got some guys coming back. They've re-signed Laramie Tunsil. They've done some work. And they've spent a lot of money on that defensive line. They have signed so many players to that defensive line. And so I think the Commanders could go in a multitude of directions. However, the pick is in. With the 7th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Mansour Delane, LSU.
Corner out of LSU, Mansour Delane. Definitely a position of need for the corner for the Commanders here. Peter, I'm curious because we're seeing a lot of guys. David Bailey was mocked as a potentially number 2 overall pick. Same thing with Ruben Bain. Both of them still on the board here at number 8. Would you have done something differently here with the Washington Commanders?
I mean, I think that they do need a DB. My guess is that they would either, in this scenario, trade out here and trade to a team that needs an edge rusher desperately, or they would grab David Bailey and just pick the best guy off the board. But DB is also definitely a need of theirs. So I don't think it's a bad pick by any stretch.
No, I agree. That puts it as a position, one of the strongest position groups on the team, right? You got Mikey Sanders still over there, who I am still a pretty good big fan of. They drafted Trey Amos pretty high last year. That combined now with a potential Mansour Delane, one of the scariest corner rooms really in all of football. So not a bad pick at all. Definitely worth a top 10 selection. The Saints are on the clock, though. And I think a lot of the guys that the Saints would have wanted are here. They can get one of those top flight edge rushers. David Bailey, Ruben Bain Jr., both available. Both, like I said, potential top 5 picks right now. Francis Maui-Noah available also from Miami. They're looking for more offensive line help. He seems to be the consensus number 1 overall. They can also grab some more wide receivers. They have plenty of options here, and that's what I think we're going to start to see really after the top 7 or so. It seems to go best available, but there are a lot of bests available right now, and looking at the board the way that it stands, I'm going to take my best available player, and I am going to go, the pick is in for the New Orleans Saints at number 8. At number 8 in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints are selecting edge rusher Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Now, a lot of people might say, why not David Bailey here? And I will say this, I know the short arms are a concern. I don't care about the short arms. I have seen the way he explodes off of the offensive line, the way his power moves are able to get to the quarterback, the way that he is a great pass rusher through one of the highest levels of college football in the ACC. And David Bailey is great, but I have more concerns about his translation to the pro-level game than I do with Ruben Bain Jr. And if I was doing a big board, I would put Ruben Bain ahead of David Bailey. I'd put David Bailey as the 5th of those big 5 defenders, and Ruben Bain probably 3rd or 4th. A lot of good places for them to go there. I don't think they could really go wrong, but Ruben Bain, the selection for me with the New Orleans Saints as they look to continue to build a defense with a team that was surprisingly better on the offensive side of the ball last season. As good as it would be to get a wide receiver, you cannot pass up one of those two edge rushers with the board standing as it is.
Which brings us to the Chiefs. And I think that if this scenario played out, Roger Goodell wouldn't even be able to get off of the podium. They would just run the card to him as fast as humanly possible because the pick is in for pick 9. And we got David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. This is a guy that is being sometimes mocked to the 2nd overall pick of this entire draft. They desperately need an edge rusher, and they just got arguably the best one in the draft by some people's boards. This dude is unbelievably fast off of the line. I think the Chiefs could not be any happier with this pick.
No, this draft is phenomenal for them, and I love the chaos that this is formed. This is why this is a great exercise to do with multiple people, because you're constantly surprised with what other people are thinking, and that's how David Bailey falls all the way to number 9, a steal of a draft for the Chiefs. But if you look at back at what the draft has fallen so far, this is not an insane scenario, right? This is the Commanders choosing a corner over an edge rusher, that a difference away from David Bailey or Ruben Bain being available for the Chiefs at 9. Jeremiah Love is still going to be available. This feels like the top 9-ish picks available, or at least that I expect in the draft. Maybe not in the order, but this is a very plausible scenario.
Definitely. I mean, the only splinter point, I made it, but it's Jeremiah Love. But all these guys have been, at some point or another, mocked to all these teams. So I think this is very plausible.
Absolutely. We hit the number 10 overall pick, and we'll do a recap before we continue past number 10. But before we do, Caleb is on the clock picking for the Cincinnati Bengals.
So the Bengals, they needed a lot of help last year. I don't think anything went right for them last year. I can't imagine that it could go much worse. I hope I don't have to eat those words next season. But I think this has fallen just about as good as it can for them. Sure, they would probably like to have either Caleb Downs or Mansour Delane. However, the pick is in. With the 10th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Francis Mauigoa. I feel bad mispronouncing his name.
Nailed it. Francis Mauigoa.
Mauigoa.
Out of Miami is the pick, the number 10 overall pick. They could have gone defense. Why go offensive tackle here?
They need a lot of help at offensive line. If you want Joe Burrow to play more than 3 more years in the NFL, you have to give him some help. I know they have spent money on that line. Not much. They still need help. However, the team has gotten better there. I do think that a team that has been projected, or a player that has been projected in the top 5, falling to you at 10, you can't let him by. I mean, the skill is there. The value is there. Great player. And always a position of need, no matter what team you are.
Absolutely. This is a really interesting spot for the Dolphins. And before we get to that, I just want to run over the first 10 picks that we have, because I feel like we've flown through them here. So I'll run through the top 10, then we'll get to the next 10 here. Number 1, the Raiders selected Fernando Mendoza, quarterback from Indiana. The Jets took Arvell Reese out of Ohio State, the linebacker. Jeremiah Love went to the Cardinals at 3, one of the more interesting storylines to watch in the draft. Sonny Styles went 4 to the Tennessee Titans. That's where the Giants selected Caleb Downs to round out the top 5. The first wide receiver off the board was Carnell Tate. He went 6 to the Cleveland Browns, followed by the first corner, Mansour Delane out of LSU, landing in the nation's capital with the Commanders. The Saints and the Chiefs went back-to-back with edge rushers Reuben Bain Jr. and David Bailey, 8 and 9 respectively, before rounding out the top 10 with Francis Mauigoa, the first offensive tackle off the board, heading to the great city of Cincinnati to protect Joe Burrow. Here is where we get to the Dolphins. The Dolphins, I'm going to put this very cleanly and very plainly. They need everything. The Dolphins do not have
anything.
A good player on their roster is very far and very few. They have Devon Achane. Shout out Devon Achane. That is about it. I'm going to stop counting there. We can argue. I might be able to give you a couple more guys, but I'm going to stop the list at Achane.
I can't. I can't name a single player on that roster.
The Miami Dolphins could go in a lot of different directions. They just went and signed a quarterback. Welcome to, I guess, hell? Malik Willis? Not a great spot to be. They can draft a tackle. There are a lot of great tackles available. They trade away Waddle. They let Tyreek Hill walk in free agency. There's a lot of great receivers available here. They don't have corners, which is the biggest area of need heading into the offseason, and then they created more areas of need. So there's a lot of options for them to go, and the consensus big board from PFF that I'm working with has 2 tackles, 2 wide receivers, and a corner at the top. Any of those 5 guys, very, very good pick for the Miami Dolphins. All of that being said, the pick is in. The Miami Dolphins, with the 11th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, select the most dynamic wide receiver on the board. They take Jordan Tyson, wide receiver from Arizona State. Now, this is going to be a controversial pick, and I completely understand it. Why not draft a great tackle like Monroe Freeling or Spencer Fano at the top of the draft here to protect your new quarterback? Because I don't think they care about his health. That is what I'm saying. What I will say is, when there is a talent like Jordan Tyson there that I think is the second best offensive player in this class, pretty clearly only behind Jeremiah Love, his question is health, and that is a real concern. He's going to fall down draft boards because of his health issues. If he was fully healthy, I think he goes top 5 in this NFL draft. I don't think he gets past the Giants in this NFL draft if there was no injury concerns with Jordan Tyson. Now, that's not the world we're living in, but I think his talent is so tantalizing, you cannot let him get past you when you are in need of a dynamic wide receiver at number 11. You have another pick later on in the first round. I just don't think they're going to find a guy of that level later on. Jordan Tyson is the pick for the Miami Dolphins at number 11. The Dallas Cowboys are on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys really need the most help is on defense. At 12, though, you're not going to reach on an edge rusher at this point. So you're going to grab a different DB who some consider the best DB in this draft. So with that being said, the pick is in. And with the 12th overall pick, the Dallas Cowboys select Jamad McCoy. This is a guy who, if it wasn't for the fact that he missed the entire 2025 season, he would be much higher than even 12. He is one of the top DBs in this entire draft, and he put to bed any doubt of whether or not he was in shape or how he was doing with his pro day, where he looked incredible. So I think the Dallas Cowboys are pretty happy with grabbing McCoy here.
Yeah, McCoy is going to be a steal of a pick, and they have another first-round pick as well, so getting the best defender available for them, probably the right decision. Their offense is going to be dynamic with Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and, I mean, that offensive line is good enough to get Javonte Williams to one of the leading rushers in all of the NFL. So I'm not concerned about that offense in the slightest. What I will say is you do need to be concerned about that defense for very obvious reasons. Up next, the Los Angeles Rams. Pick 13. Caleb, they're on the clock.
Yeah, so the Los Angeles Rams, they've got a lot of good things on the board here. A lot of people have them mocked with one of the people left on the board. I will say that. There is also a great tackle. There's multiple great tackles on the board. There's a great guard on the board. And I know they would like some help on the offensive line. With that being said, the pick is in. With the 13th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver, USC. It's going to come as no surprise that they go for wide receiver. One of their wide receivers is having some off-field problems this offseason. And I know that that could help influence where they go in this draft. I will not say anything more about that. However, Lemon is on the board. Wide receivers are leaving the board, and you can't let him past you. He's a great player. He performed horribly at interviews, which makes me think that there is no other reason that he cannot be a wide receiver one. All wide receiver ones have a little bit of an ego, and if you've got an ego, you're probably a wide receiver one. So I think to move forward in the future, I think Mekhi Lemon will definitely help that Rams team.
This, Caleb, is the most shocking pick to me so far.
Really?
I will say that. This is the most shocking pick to me. I am not worried about Puka's availability heading into the season. He is going to be the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, and the Rams will take him out of rehab if they have to. They also have Devontae Adams, who led the league in touchdowns last year, still under contract. I don't disagree with taking a wide receiver here. I would have taken one of the two tackles. And more selfishly, this puts me at a very tough position for the Ravens coming up at this pick.
Well, welcome to the NFL draft, Jeremy.
The Ravens are on the clock, and I was ready to tell you they were going to select Mekhi Lemon, but things change very quickly in the triple threat mock draft. So we move on, and the Ravens on the clock with pick 14 have a lot of ways that they could go. I think addressing the interior offensive line, or maybe the offensive line as a whole, might be a place for them, but that is not one of their bigger weaknesses, right? This is a team that I would say needs a wide receiver the most. They have a great run game. I know they've just lost their center, but they have a center in waiting. The Ravens do. There's a lot of places that they could go, but with the way this board is falling, it feels like they're going to have to take a reach of a pick. So if I were the Ravens, quite honestly, I would look to trade out in this scenario. Now, trades are not allowed in this mock draft, but just keep that in mind. That is what I would do if I were the Ravens here. Taking a look at that tackle position, which is where the best available picks are, right? They already have guys that can. They have Ronnie Stanley, they have Roger Rosengarten, right? So they have tackles available. They have a center, and there's not really the center is the place I would go. There's not really a center available, so I'm going to reach for them. I am going to go far back into the end of the first round, and I am going to select. You can never have enough edge rushers. The best edge rusher on the board right now, out of Miami, Akeem Mesidor. The pick is in. This is a reach. I'm not going to lie to you. This is very much a reach. I just don't see a lot of great fits for this team. Out of the guys that are available at the top of the board, you have Monroe Freeling, you have Spencer Fanu. They don't need tackles right now. You're not going to get a guard because they don't really need guards either. What they would need is a center, and Ione from Penn State is not a center. There's not a lot of great centers available. You can get a safety, but you don't need a safety. You drafted a safety last year pretty highly, and you still have the best safety in all of the league. You have to go to edge rusher here. You can talk me into Kedrick Falk. I don't think he's a good fit for that team. You could talk me into corner, but I think they have a bigger need at edge rusher. Maybe they go out and they get a linebacker, but I'm not super concerned about that linebacker core. I think that they're going to have bounce-back seasons from their stars on defense. So I'm taking the best edge rusher available, in my opinion, and that is Akeem Mesidor at the 14th overall pick. Now, Peter, The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're on the clock.
They are on the clock. This was one of the picks when preparing for this. I wasn't sure what the right answer. I was actually thinking about drafting Akeem here. I mean, he's a great edge rusher. And the drop off between Akeem and I don't know, maybe Falk is the next one for edge rushing. Maybe TJ Parker. But I don't think they're going to reach that far. They just lost Mike Evans. Their only wide receiver options are Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin. I know they have one other guy that's decently good, but I think that they're going to look for another receiving option for Baker Mayfield. So the pick is in. And with the 15th overall pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will select Kenyon Sadiq out of Oregon.
Kenyon Sadiq, tight end, goes off the board. The best tight end available. An interesting spot here. They did re-sign Cade Otton, but they need a playmaker, and that is exactly what Kenyon Sadiq will bring to that team. A great red zone threat and a true weapon on the inside that can block as well. I like this pick a lot, Peter. Good stuff out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of places that they could go. Kenyon Sadiq is the pick.
I like that pick a lot. I think that fits the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a lot. They are missing that playmaker, so I think Kenyon Sadiq will fit well in Tampa Bay. But moving on with pick number 16, the New York Jets, who still, even after selecting Reese at the second overall pick, still need a lot. They are missing quite a few players. I think they need to just be looking at the board and saying, where can I get value? What fits this team and what will help? But with that being said, the pick is in. With the 16th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Keldrick Falk, Auburn. They got rid of some of their edge defenders. I do think that they can draft their quarterback in the second round. I know they're going to be looking at it here. They can also trade back in to the first round. I do not think that the value for their quarterback is here. I think they should just be going for positions of need and best available. Some might see it as a little bit of a reach. I think with this team, nothing's a reach. I think just fixing the holes in that roster is a great start. You could have said that they go offensive line, and I would have been A-okay with that decision. You could have said that they reach for a wide receiver. I'd be A-okay with that decision. I don't think you could go wrong. I feel like this has a similar roster strength as the Miami Dolphins.
I might give the edge to the Jets, but definitely not by much.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely not by much.
It's not a wide margin. But I do think that whoever they select there will probably start.
This board is exactly what the Lions dreamed of.
This is everything and more. Everything and more that they could have ever dreamt of.
Peter, I'm going to let you be my mouthpiece here as a Lions fan. Would you like to talk me through? Would you like to talk me through this pick here? If I was the Lions, and let me tell you what I would pick my favorite tackle between Monroe Freeling and Spencer Fano. Who would you pick here?
I'd probably pick Monroe Freeling just simply because this guy is a genetic freak of nature when it comes to the offensive line. And I mean, he just seems like a Dan Campbell guy as well. Like, this would be a dream scenario. They desperately need offensive line help. And I mean, there's really no wrong answer here. Both of these guys are pretty good, and likely one of them will be drafted a little bit earlier than this, but if they somehow had a pick between the two of them, I think they'd be happy with either.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong here. So all that being said, Peter, The Lions pick is in. With the 17th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions. I'm all over the place today, boys. The Detroit Lions select Georgia tackle Monroe Freeling. They need a tackle in the worst possible way. And this board, it's beautiful. It's beautiful for all of those Lions fans out there. Monroe Freeling, taken by the Detroit Lions. The Minnesota Vikings are on the clock.
Yeah. So the Vikings are kind of in a weird spot because they have a really good offense, other than running back. So really, you're going to need to get a defensive player here, and there's not a lot of guys that I see the Vikings being very fond of, but there is one. The pick is in. And with the 18th overall pick, the Minnesota Vikings select Dylan, I'm going to butcher his last name, Dynaman.
Nailed it. I don't actually know the
Oregon safety.
pronunciation on this one, so we'll cede to Peter Keegwin.
I mean, I don't think I would have done much better. I mean, I butchered Maui Noah. I won't lie. I got it right, I think, that time, or at least pretty close.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Talk to us about it.
I mean, this is a guy that you can really place in a lot of different areas for the Vikings. He's a really good safety. He's quick off of his step. He's good at picking up routes. I just think that it kind of fits a missing piece that they have right now.
Yeah, they are losing all-pro, all-franchise player, most likely to retirement in safety, Harrison Smith. So this would be a Harrison Smith-style replacement. I absolutely love this pick. All of that being said, the Carolina Panthers and Caleb Carney are on the clock.
Man, oh man, I don't think this could go any worse for the Panthers.
Oh no!
I think everyone that they would dream of is off the board at this point. I think the Panthers are looking for possibly some help on defense. They might be looking at defensive line. They might be looking maybe at tight end, maybe at wide receiver. I think it is a bad place for them to be. And with what's left on the board, I mean, I think there is not too much that they are. Well, they're probably happy. They imagine that they have one or two people that they are holding on to in their back pocket that they're like, this is a solid pick. But with that being said, the pick is in. With the 19th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, Carolina's Panthers select Peter Woods. Defensive line, Clemson. I think that it is the help that they need. They need somebody to fill the holes on that defensive line and hold strong. I think that this is a good pick for them. You could have gone for wide receiver. You could have looked at Omar Cooper. You could have looked at KC Conception, Denzel Boston. You could have looked at any of those guys. I think that they're going to look at defense. I think they want help there. I think that that's just where they're going to be looking. And I mean, you can disagree or agree with me. But I don't think that there is the offensive line help that they're looking for.
No, there's not too much on the interior offensive line. We talked about it a little bit with the Ravens, right? There's not a center available that I would have loved for them to take. I might have run to one of those wide receivers here, but you can never go wrong with an interior defender to pair next to Brown and make that defensive line very scary. They made a lot of great moves on the defensive line this offseason in the with free agency. So I like this pick a solid amount. The Cowboys are back on the clock. Pick number 20. Pick number 20 on the clock. The Dallas Cowboys, earlier on in this draft, pick 12, they drafted a corner, Jermon McCoy, out of Tennessee. Now, they could go out and get another corner. There's a couple of guys available. Avion Terrell is still here. They could go out and they could get a guy that I really like corner out of Indiana, D'Angelo Pons. They could get his teammate, Colton Hood, that's available. Maybe they go out and they get a linebacker here, CJ Allen, the best linebacker on the board. That might be a spot they could go, but they need edge rushers. You know what would make this Cowboys team maybe a contender? Having a all-pro edge rusher that could do it all on the defensive side of the ball. I think that's kind of the missing puzzle piece for this Cowboys team. Don't you guys?
Oh yeah, tell me about that. Didn't they used to have somebody?
That's a long time ago at this point.
I mean, it was probably like back in the 90s. I mean, wasn't that the last time they were good?
Yeah, it's been a while
That's
since.
no one. He wasn't that good though.
yeah, he wasn't good at football. No reason to pay that man at all.
All that being said, the pick is in for the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys fix this massive hole that has somehow been created on their roster. Nobody knows how it could have possibly happened, but they need an edge rusher in what I would describe as the worst possible way. Unfortunately, a lot of the great edge rushers are off the board. I look to get a second straight Clemson Tiger here, TJ Parker. TJ Parker out of Clemson joins his teammates, back-to-back Clemson players, this time to Dallas. I will say, you could very much convince me that they go out and they get a guy such as linebacker CJ Allen, because they could use a guy over there that can do it all. There's a lot of great guys available for them. You could see them maybe dipping their toes in the later rounds to a guy like R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma, which is an edge rusher that I like. Only one letter first name, which is a decision by his parents. But shout out R. Mason Thomas. I think he's going to be a very good player. Not a first-round caliber pick, though.
Do you think they just couldn't decide on a name?
I mean, they went with Mason, and then they decided to throw an R in front of it. So I don't know what that stands for.
But do you think that they each individually had a name that started with R, and they just couldn't agree on it?
I'd believe it. I don't know what goes on. I don't know what goes on in people's mind when they're trying to name somebody. That sounds like a really big decision. Like, imagine if you were named Peter or something.
Dude, what an
Poor
unfortunate
guy, whoever's
time.
named Peter. Yeah.
I remember when I was named Jeremy one time.
But the Steelers at pick 21, a very familiar spot for them, Peter. They're on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those picks that it's just, you could either go finally grab Spencer Fanu off of the board, a guy who's fallen in our draft by quite a bit. You could grab a third wide receiver in Omar Cooper Jr., since they do now have Michael Pittman. Or you could even take a wild card pick with the quarterback and grab Ty Simpson and have your entire fan base hate you. So,
as opposed to normal.
That's true. When the 21st pick, the pick is in. And with the 21st pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Spencer Fano out of Utah, offensive tackle.
Great pick. I actually really love that. I think that the Steelers need an offensive tackle. I think if they had selected either of the top offensive line left on the board, that they could not have gone wrong. Him or the guy out of Penn State. I'm not going to attempt to say his name. He's a great player. He's a guard. I have not a clue how to pronounce his name, and I'd rather not upset a man who is twice my size.
I wish that we had like the Roger Goodell, the name cards will have how to say
I
the name at the
know.
bottom, like the exactly how to say it, so he can never mess up.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the names you already saw me mess up Francis's name, probably because I read it wrong because I'm half blind. Probably need glasses. I don't have them. But we move along to the 22nd pick with the Los Angeles Chargers. There is a correct answer for them.
Is there?
There's always a correct answer for them. And I think it revolves somewhere around the fact that their offensive line was rated dead last in the NFL. PFF had them rated so far below the next team that the 31st team was closer to the 5th team than they were to the Los Angeles Chargers. I think that is a sad statistic. It's a fun one. But with the 22nd pick, the pick is in. The best thing to happen to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Penn State guard has fallen to them, and they will be selecting him. I don't know how to pronounce his name. If anyone wants to take a shot at it, please be my guest. But they will be drafting him with the 22nd pick. He's a great player. I watched him play, and I just think that it will fill the gaps. They have the tackles. They were just injured last year. I think that the injuries at offensive line really hurt that team with getting both of those players back this season and then adding a guard. That offensive line will really move to the next step. I think that team will be significantly better.
All right, I'm going to give this a shot for you.
Thank you.
Ready?
Yes.
Olavavega Ione.
Actually,
I think I nailed that.
I dig it.
I think that's actually right.
I think I nailed that. I feel really good about that.
I dig it.
I don't know for sure about this one, but I felt pretty good about that one. So we'll roll with it.
How do you feel about the pick?
About the pick? I like this pick. You nailed it. They needed offensive line in the worst possible way. But their tackles are there. So, they don't need those guys. They just need them to stay healthy. Ione is going to absolutely add to that team, and maybe Justin Herbert can stay upright and convince all the haters that he's a top 7 quarterback in the NFL.
If man.
All the haters out there.
Man next year.
Peter. All the haters out there that he is actually one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. Like he actually is.
I'll make a bet with you right now.
I'm
if
here
Kyler
for
Murray starts next year with the Minnesota Vikings, he will have a better year than Justin Herbert will have with the Chargers.
You know what? How are we deciding this? Like wins, yards, what's the deciding factor?
Well, we've established that wins are not a quarterback.
They are not a quarterback stat.
This show has established multiple times that wins are not a quarterback stat.
I'll even do you one better. Kyler Murray will be an MVP candidate, a top 5 MVP candidate next year.
Yeah, now you're smoking crack. Okay.
We're allowed to say that?
We're on the internet. We can say anything.
No, we can't.
Now you're smoking crack over there. I will take you up on that. I don't think he will be a top 5 MVP candidate. And you know what? I'll even say that Justin Herbert will, just to fulfill my end of the bargain here.
What are we putting on it?
It's going to be a top 5.
What are you guys putting on it? Is this like
love
I am the witness, and in this state, with a witness, it's a legally binding contract. Yeah, like you guys got monetary value, you got bragging rights. Like, what are we doing here?
You want to do hot wings?
We'll do wings. That's our standard.
Okay.
Love that. I love the hot wings challenge. Glad I'm not in on that.
You don't want to pick a quarterback to be top 5?
I'll put Patrick Mahomes.
Lame.
Yeah.
Lame.
Doesn't matter how bad that he does in a season. They're like, oh my God, Patrick Mahomes is the best. Anyways,
the Philadelphia Eagles, they are on the clock. At pick 23, it's a fascinating spot because they kind of lost a little bit when it came to the defensive side of the ball. And yet, I think this board kind of works out in their favor. So, with that being said, the Philadelphia Eagles, pick 23, it's in. With the 23rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles fill the hole that they lost at the linebacker position, going with the Howie Roseman staple of drafting a Georgia Bulldog or an Alabama Crimson Tide, C.J. Allen. Out of Georgia, the linebacker that can do it all is there to replace the guys that they have lost, and he goes pick 23 to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I mean,
it's just the way that it goes with them.
it's just the pick. I don't think anyone has any argument about that. I think it's a pretty clear, pretty decisive pick. But the Browns,
they're on the clock.
Peter,
on the clock again.
Once again, we had them selecting in their first pick earlier on, Carnell Tate at number 6. They are up again at 24.
Did you get both Browns picks?
I did get both Browns picks.
I think you would make a better GM than
Andrew Berry.
Yeah.
And I probably show a little bit less favoritism. Man, I think the very clear answer with this would be if there was a better quarterback than Ty Simpson, they have to draft a quarterback.
Unfortunately,
your two options right now are Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. I like Shedeur. I'm not going to say I like the other guy. But
this is the internet. You can say what you want. We established that earlier.
There's still consequences.
No.
There is no consequences.
You just won't get sued by the FCC.
That's true.
That is a consequence.
I do not think it is a controversial statement to think that Deshaun Watson should not be allowed to play NFL football anymore.
Yeah, I would probably say that Deshaun Watson probably has not earned his big contract, but I don't think that they'll go with Ty Simpson here. Even though, funny enough, they picked Carson Beck in the top 30 visit recently, which I thought was really funny. I think that they're going to grab an offensive tackle here. There's two really good options with Caden Proctor and Caleb Luomu. So with that being said, the pick is in. And here I think that they're going to grab Caden Proctor out of Alabama. They already grabbed a bunch of offensive linemen this offseason, but they still have one more hole at left tackle, I'm pretty sure. And I think Caden Proctor is probably the best bet. So that's what the Browns are going to do in my mind, though. Yeah. I don't think that's what they're going to do.
Absolutely. The Browns already got their wide receiver. They don't need to get another one here. And outside of that, I mean, offensive line, offensive tackle, definitely the way to go, especially with the way the board is falling. We're seeing tackles fall pretty far down the board. The Bears are on the clock at pick 25. And I think there's one pretty clear need from them. Their defense needs some work. They were very opportunistic, but they really struggled against the run. They need a guy on the interior. Whenever you see something about a defensive lineman, or especially on the interior of the defensive line, we have seen all the Bear fans come out of the woodworks and say, "You're a Bear. You're coming to the Bears. Welcome to Chicago. Bear down." So with that being said, I think that the Chicago Bears have made their decision. The pick is in. Chicago Bears on the clock at pick number 25. Select the defensive tackle from Florida, Caleb Banks. Now, you could convince me that they go and they get a guy like Caden McDonald. I just like the tape with Caleb Banks a little bit more. He's a guy that I think is going to be more of a run-stopping threat where they desperately need that. They just need guys that are going to cause problems on the defensive line, and I think Banks is that guy more than out of Ohio State, Caden McDonald. On the clock at number 26, the Buffalo Bills.
Huh. All right.
What?
I was like, I thought pick 25 was me.
Did I do that wrong?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun. Funnily enough, that's who I was going to choose for them. It was either going to be them or the person that I might mock here. However, I am thinking that the Bills might go secondary or defensive line. There is not a lot of interior offensive line for them. I think, as we've established earlier with the Ravens, that interior offensive line is thin this draft. There's a lot of value in the second round for them. But I don't think that they're going to need a tackle. There's a lot of good tackles left out there. But with that being said, the pick is in. With the 26th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Caden McDonald.
Caden McDonald, the two defensive linemen, go back to back. I agree, and we'll get back on track after this pick. My fault, I jumped the gun. I got excited.
Hey, it's okay. I really like the Caleb Banks pick. I didn't know if I wanted to give Caleb Banks to the Bills or Caleb Banks to the Bears. And so you helped me out there, which is really nice. You made my pick a little bit easier. And I don't think either of those picks are wrong. They might be swapped. They might be in the order they are now. I think that is the perfect position for both of those players. And so I think it worked out.
Either way, we are back to standard order, pick number 3 in our little triangle of terror. Peter is on the clock at number 27 with the San Francisco 49ers.
So this pick is probably between an offensive tackle. They desperately need offensive tackles right now. But I think they're going to go best player available here. And they may have signed Mike Evans. They may have signed Christian Kirk, and they may have Ricky Pearsall. But there's a guy out of Indiana who saved a perfect season and is just flying up draft boards. So
for good reason.
The pick is in. And with the 27th pick, the 49ers will select Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver out of Indiana. Now, this guy just is a great fit for them. We would have probably liked to see him do a little bit better with Surratt out towards the end of the season with Indiana, but we instead saw Charlie Becker take over. But Omar Cooper Jr. is still, in some people's minds, a top 3 wide receiver in this draft. And I mean, he's a great player. And I don't think Mike Evans will play for much longer. And let's be honest, Cooper is already better than Charlie Kirk is. So, or not Charlie Kirk, Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk. I messed up.
It's okay. You wouldn't be the first one.
Sadly, you're not. You're not the first.
I did what the Texans Twitter did before they deleted it. My apologies.
All good. All good. I like this pick. They do need a wide receiver. It seems like, well, they're obviously not bringing back Ayuk, right? And as good as Mike Evans is, you need a different wide receiver that isn't just Mike Evans because he can't do it all on his own. I don't think they're bringing back Juwan Jennings, and none of those other guys really scream. That's the guy that I want as my wide receiver too. I love this pick. Omar Cooper Jr., pick 27. We're back on track. We're back in order. The Texans are on the clock, and Caleb has their pick at 28.
I do. I think the Texans are in an all right position. A lot of defenders have gone off the board, but we know how good that Texans defense is. I do not think they are looking there. I think they are going to be looking more on the offense. I would really think that they move towards a running back. I don't think that there is a running back worth drafting at this position. I think there is a steep fall off from Jeremiah Love down to the next guy. Offensive line, they just signed Wyatt Teller, the guard. He's moving over from the Browns. But with that being said, the pick is in. With the 28th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Caleb Lomu, tackle, Utah. They have had a weak point at tackle ever since Laramie Tunsil was traded to the Commanders. I think that they are going to be looking to fix that gap and give CJ Stroud a little bit more protection. We saw the weakness in the postseason at that tackle position. We saw the weakness on the offensive line in the postseason. I mean, it was just a terrible day to be CJ Stroud in that in that game. Besides the turnovers, I think he just did not have time to stand there. And as a quarterback, you have to have time to react, to see the field, and to play. And I think addressing the offensive line will help that Texans team move forward with CJ Stroud.
Absolutely. If they don't draft a tackle, if they don't draft an offensive lineman here, they hate CJ Stroud. And there's no other way to see it because they did not draft an offensive lineman with their first or second picks last year. They also traded away multiple offensive linemen this offseason. So they need, in the worst possible way, some offensive linemen, and Caleb Lomu, the second tackle out of Utah, is there to fill that void. This is a must. This is not a negotiation. The Texans have to take offensive line here, and they select the best one available, in my opinion, at pick 28. But the Chiefs are back on the clock at pick 29, the pick that they got from the Rams for trading away one of their cornerbacks. They selected, with the number 9 overall pick, David Bailey, a steal, potentially the steal of the draft so far. The Chiefs are on the clock, and the pick is in. From one era of a corner to another, the Kansas City Chiefs need a corner in this draft, and the top one available is sitting here still. Avion Terrell out of Clemson is the pick. From one corner to the next, they continue to move on. They lost both corners to the Rams. They get one of those back, and Avion Terrell is that guy. At pick 29, they fix the need at edge rusher. They fix the need at corner in this first round, and if this draft goes the way that it is right now, they could very easily be considered one of the biggest winners of the night.
Yeah, I think this is a good pick. I think the only other thing that they may do here is potentially wide receiver. Xavier Worthy's really not working out for them right now, and their best option right now is Rice. So I think that it's either that or Casey Concepcion at this point.
I'd have to agree with that. I don't think that either of those picks are wrong. I think Chiefs fans are happy either way. You either address the corner or you address the wide receiver. I think losing both of your starting corners, I think that
Yeah.
addressing it here is a great solution for them. He's on the board. He's mocked higher than where they're selecting him. I think it's a very good pick. If they don't pick him, I think he would get picked at the next pick.
Oh, definitely.
I can't imagine that Terrell would fall much further than that. But pick 30.
Pick 30. So we got the Miami Dolphins.
With
Now,
pick
we're not doing
11
trades.
earlier on in the draft, they selected Jordan Tyson. So their second pick of the first round for the Miami Dolphins.
we're not doing trades, but I definitely see this as a spot that would be traded. There's a lot of teams that see Ty Simpson as a first round pick, and this is probably a good spot for him to get picked at. So I'll say the pick is in. And with the 30th pick in the 2026 draft, the Dolphins are going to do a curveball.
Ooh.
And they are actually going to draft Ty Simpson out of Alabama. And they're going to have this as a competition going into training camps between Malik Willis and Ty Simpson.
Okay. Then.
I think they don't see Malik Willis as a permanent option. And having Malik Willis start for a year, they get another bad pick and get Jeremiah Smith next year. And then they have Ty Simpson practicing and getting ready for the 2027 season is probably not out of the question.
Okay.
A lot of dead money by having two quarterbacks not on their roster.
Well, not what I would have done, but I can certainly see some sort of logic there. You get your narrative of multiple quarterbacks taken in the first round, Peter. Congratulations.
If somebody was going to do it.
It wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen otherwise.
No, it was not going to happen otherwise.
But I do see that being a spot that the Jets would move back in. They have an early second round pick. I imagine do they still have that second round pick?
I think so.
I believe so. If they still have that pick, it will not be a steep price to move the Dolphins down 5 spots, 6 spots to that Jets pick. So I do think that is a very good spot for somebody to trade up in and steal their quarterback of the future for a reasonable package.
I think that spot is either going to get traded to the Jets or the Cardinals.
I could very easily see the Cardinals making a move like that. There's been a lot of rumors around Ty Simpson, especially if they trade back out of that third pick. This could be a spot that they target to go and get, potentially a quarterback like Ty Simpson. I could see him going at 30, just not to the Dolphins. But
welcome to Peter's mock draft.
Lineup.
This is why we do this collaboratively. We get to see all sorts of mindsets here. But Ty Simpson goes number 30. The penultimate pick, the losers of Super Bowl 61? 60. The losers of the most recent Super Bowl, the New England Patriots, are on the clock, and the pick goes to one Caleb Carney.
I think the Patriots looked like a really good team. I think they looked young and inexperienced at the later half of the season, but I do think they were a good team, and I think they're going to be looking to build on what they had last year, and I think they're going to address what felt like the few holes they had on that team. There's some good players left on the board, and I don't think that the Patriots could really go wrong with any of them. I feel like it's a good place to be. With that being said, the pick is in. With the 31st pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, The New England Patriots select Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington. I think that the few holes that Patriots team had was a playmaker at wide receiver. It felt like a revolving door of who was catching the ball at times during the season for them. And I think that going out, drafting somebody in the first round, a good player with good tape, will address what did feel like that revolving door. And so I think that it's either going to be him or offensive line, probably a tackle. If not, maybe you look at safety, some over the top help if you really wanted to go defense. But I think wide receiver was the biggest need for that Patriots team. It felt like where they were weak. They addressed running back, and they had a running back committee that did okay. So I have them selecting Denzel Boston.
Good pick. They need a wide receiver. They went out and they got Romeo Doubs this offseason. He's not enough. As much as I like a couple of those wide receivers that they got, I like Kayshon Boutte. I like Mac Hollins. I like Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas. I like a lot of those guys. Kyle Williams. They're not the answer. Let's not kid ourselves here. They're not the answer at wide receiver. They let go of Stephon Diggs, getting a guy at pick 31 that has a lot of size, can be a threat in the red zone, and can also just route you up at any given point. I love this pick. Denzel Boston to Boston with the Patriots. Good pick. Good pick by Caleb.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Boston
to Boston.
Boston to Boston here. Look at that. It all
works.
itself out.
I love this. This is awesome.
They may pick him just for that marketing.
That's gonna be the t-shirt. They're gonna be selling t-shirts that just says Boston to Boston. And honestly, they should.
We love it. I'm gonna finish out this draft here. The world champion Seattle Seahawks are on the clock at pick 32, and they don't have too many holes. Their biggest hole is running back here. I'm not too concerned about it. Zach Charbonnet is going to be injured. They can get a running back later on in the draft. They can figure that out later. They have other concerns. They lose Reek Woolen. That's the biggest hole that I'm seeing in this roster. And there are a couple of corners available. Which corner they take, the pick is in. If you've been listening to me, if you have been paying attention, this should be an obvious pick here. I am a sucker for James Madison Duke. I am a sucker for a guy that wins. I am a sucker for a great corner that should be getting more love than he is. The top corner available based on our big board is Colton Hood out of Tennessee. Overrated. Solid corner, overrated. I am looking at the consensus big board as of April 2nd on PFF, and there are 3 corners ahead of my guy. There should not be 3 corners. The max should be 1. Colton Hood, I understand. But Brandon Cece, Chris Johnson out of San Diego State actually is a really good player. I'm not gonna knock him.
I'm not gonna
knock him. He's very good. I like
Probably
Chris Johnson. But my pick to round out the first round, D'Angelo Pons, national champion, James Madison Duke, and Indiana Hoosier to the Seattle Seahawks. He is a ball hawk. He is an electric athlete, and he has succeeded at every single level. People knock his size. He has tested well everywhere they have possibly tested him. He has gone up against Ohio State receivers and succeeded. He has gone up in the national championship games and succeeded. He is the final pick in the first round. D'Angelo Pons wraps up our mock draft here. We're not going to run through the entire first round, but I am going to run through the top 10 for you one more time. At number 1, Fernando Mendoza, obviously to the Raiders. The Jets select Arvell Reese. Jeremiah Love, first surprise of the draft, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. Sonny Styles goes at 4 to the Titans. Caleb Downs is next to the Giants at 5. Carnell Tate is picked 6th out of Ohio State. 3 straight Ohio State players and 4 in the top 6. Mansour Delane out of LSU comes back to Washington at 7. Ruben Bain Jr. at 8 to the Saints. The steal of the draft, David Bailey, number 9, all the way down there with the Kansas City Chiefs. And to round out the top 10, Francis Mauigoa out of Miami to the Cincinnati Bengals. We will go and post this on all of our socials, our first round mock, the official Triple Threat live mock draft. We may do another one of these closer to draft time as we see more and more where the world of the draft is shaping up, but just keep an eye out here. Thank you to everybody so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Triple Threat Show. I have been your host, Jeremy Lapidus, joined by my two friends and co-hosts, Caleb Carney and Peter Keegwin. Welcome. We will be back later on Wednesday to go over everything, including the national championship that just tipped off between the University of Michigan and the University of Connecticut. Who will cut down the nets? Will the history of Dan Hurley continue, winning 3 of the last 4 national championships, or will the newcomers, Dusty May, and that super-powered team that's been a buzzsaw all season long, take down the Huskies and raise the trophy? We will find out tonight and talk about it on Wednesday. You can find us everywhere around the internet. That's right, we are everywhere on the internet. Everywhere you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, literally everywhere. You find a podcast place, we're there. Triple Threat Show. You can also find us on YouTube at Triple Threat Show, on Twitch at 3 Threat Show, Instagram at 3 Threat Show _ and on TikTok at _Triple Threat Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back on Wednesday. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.